All right, so I'm back from a unintentional break. I made some commitments in my business. One of them being to post 3 times a day on all these platforms to try to just keep things moving, educate people and stuff. And I found that it sort of drained all of my willpower in a sense, and that's just my own mind's way of making excuses for not making these podcasts. But I'm back. All right. So today I wanted to talk about something that has been happening to me lately. So as I get older, I start to get a little concerned with running out of time to accomplish all the things that I want to accomplish. And when I wrote these notes down, I had this morning that was particularly, I don't know, challenging, I guess you could say. Uh, wake up like sort of in a panic, and just think like, fuck, I'm running out of time. And I sort of had this visual in my head, like the time was ticking away and it was like this huge clock and every second, the fucking hour hand was like this 1,000 pound thing that was just slamming into place. And, so when I got up, I was like, I got to get right to work. So one thing when this kind of stuff is important for me, one thing I think is important is to differentiate things that are like my own self that's causing these problems, or if it's environmental, like, shit happening in the world or something like that, or, things that are outside of my control. And the hard part about the things that are outside of your control is like, you can't control them. So, according to like Stoic philosophy and all these kind of other things, it's like, if it's out of your control and you can't change it, then it's not a good place to put your energy. So if you're sitting there stressing about all this stuff, like, if I'm worried about the economy affecting my business, I can't control the economy. I can only control my own actions. And so what I've found is a lot of times when these mornings of panic set in, when I really honestly look at my own self and my own performance and everything, I find that there's always nagging sort of tasks or some kind of things that I don't want to be doing that I'm sort of letting slip. And I think a lot of times they'll sort of build up in my mind. And it's like the more of those tasks that I'm pushing off to the side, the more of these kind of mornings I wake up and I feel like I'm not doing what I need to do to move towards my goals. And so I think it's important to identify whether or not these feelings are coming from things that you're creating or things from the environment. If there are things from outside of your control, then it's easier said than done, but you got to try to find a way to put your energy into other places. If there are things within your control, if there are things that you're putting off, which is a lot of times what causes it for me, then obviously you can take control of those things. And so my whole thing, to alleviate stress and alleviate these kind of feelings is to take action on exactly those things that I know that I should be doing. And so inherently, a lot of times those things that that I'm putting off are things that I don't want to do. So it's hard to get myself to do them. And a little while back, I read this thing and I tried it. I actually there's a sticky note on one of my computer monitors here to remind myself to do this. And it's sort of like a pattern interrupt. And so if I'm sitting there in a state of stress and I don't want to do the things that I know I need to do, I run through these things. And so it was a 3-step, process. And I added a 4th step of my own. And so number 1 is to become aware of your current state. So even like name it. So if I'm like feeling a lack of motivation, then I'll name it that. I'll say I'm feeling a lack of motivation. I'll picture that in my mind. And then interrupt the pattern. So if I'm sitting down, I'll stand up, I'll shake out my arms, I'll sort of like hop around a little bit, just move my body and stuff, and take some deep breaths to sort of interrupt that pattern a little bit. And then the 3rd step is to feel the state that I want to be in. So if I'm feeling a lack of motivation, or I'm feeling a lack of stress, or an abundance of stress, and I want something else, I'll just think to myself, like, I want to feel motivated. I want to feel hyped up. I want to feel like I want to do these tasks. And I'll kind of like sit with that for a few seconds. And then I added a fourth thing, and this is something I've been doing for years, and I often forget to do it, is when I'm like listening to Spotify or something and a song comes on and like we all have those songs. Everybody's sort of songs are going to be different. Like the songs that hype me up may not hype you up and vice versa. And so whenever I hear one of those songs, and you know those ones, like if you're driving in your car and this song comes on and you start to drive a little faster, you know, you get a little amped up or something, or, you know, those songs that kind of really just kind of bring you to a heightened state. So I'll put those in a playlist. And so I have kind of like this hype playlist when I'm feeling like I really need an extra boost. I'll put on this playlist. I'll just put it on random or scramble or whatever you call that. And I find like those 4 steps, they get me into a state where I can take action. And I feel like that works every time. And so the last thing, this is outside of that, and this is something I talk about all the time. The power list I just find so extremely helpful, because even if you're in a state where there are things you know you need to do, but you just don't want to do them, at least you can write down like the highest leverage things, the things you can do, like the minimum things you can do that are going to keep you moving forward. At least it'll kind of keep those sort of panicked feelings at bay. Cause like if you're checking off all the boxes and you get a win for the day, like at least you did that. And so a lot of times maybe that isn't quite enough, but like at least you're moving forward. And so a lot of times when I'm in these states where I'm both like stressed out and kind of panicked that I'm not moving forward towards my goal and that I'm running out of time, pair that with not wanting to do shit, you know, at least I didn't fuck my whole day off. Like I got these 5 critical tasks done that I know are moving my life and my business forward. If you're feeling this and you're feeling any of these kind of things, I would just give you one action step, is to pick one thing that you're avoiding and just commit to taking 5 minutes of action on it, and at least kind of get yourself moving forward. And you might find that after a few minutes, once you're starting to kind of get into the groove of things, you might build up a little bit of momentum and you might actually start like moving forward again. So to recap, the 4-step thing to kind of snap myself into action mode is: number 1, become aware of the state that you're in, even name it, interrupt the pattern, shake out your body, move around, do a little shadow boxing if that's your thing, whatever it is. Just kind of get yourself moving, interrupt the pattern, take some deep breaths. Then feel the state, imagine the state you want to be in and try to pretend that you're in that state. And then after that, put on your hype playlist, maybe even just keep walking around and shit and let the music kind of like get you into the groove, and then just jump right into action. I honestly find that if I actually do this and I believe that it's going to work, it works 100% of the time. It doesn't mean it's like sustainable, so I'm like cranking out shit all day, but at least it gets me into the pattern, or it gets me into a state of action, and I start moving forward. So hopefully that helps, and I will see you on the next one. All right.
Appreciate each and every one of you guys who are supporting the cause and continue to spread the love. And yeah, stay up.